Yep.
Would you like me to give you access to share your screen?
Uh, uh, yeah, if I knew where I was going. I'm just trying to remember where the link was. I think, did we put it on the front here somewhere, didn't we? Proposal. Yep. All right.
I can grab the link for you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look, I'm not going to talk through the whole thing because it's a pretty long post, actually, the
That's it
new
there.
proposal. Yeah. Look, I mean, I sort of just mentioned to Stuart that I thought it was worth bringing up so that everybody was aware that Canvas was reviewing their security policy around JavaScript, and they didn't really. I must admit, they weren't particularly clear on what they were planning on doing. Especially after reading a lot of the comments, a lot of people are a bit confused as to what they're actually planning on doing after they've posted this particular update for everybody. But basically, they're looking at removing some of the JavaScript functionality within a course. That is, and if you happen to have a HTML file with a JavaScript reference in a course, they're looking at disabling that either totally or having it as an option, as in you could sort of switch it on and off. There was a bit of confusion around what they were going to do with iframes, I must say, into that, because I think a lot of other users were putting HTML pages that had JavaScript in them and then iframing them into their actual content pages to run interactives and such. I think from what I could gather, that would be one thing that would be affected. But again, there was a lot of confusion on the forum as to actually what that meant. And hopefully, hopefully they would actually add in enough controls to allow us as the administrators, at least, well, not me, but the administrators to choose, what level of on or off that kind of setting would be. But I think it's definitely important, I guess, that they have, more security around JavaScript. Is just sort of trying to get the right level of control so that we can choose it as well, I think is the important thing. But yeah. Unfortunately, they've already closed any discussion. So if you had anything you wanted to tell them, they've already shut it off pretty quickly. So it's a very short, here you can talk about it, now you can't sort of thing. So I guess I'm assuming they're going to tell us a bit more in a few weeks what is actually going to go on there. So yeah.
Yeah, I had a look at it, and I think if I remember correctly, they were looking at giving it as an option to the institution. So they're not going to completely turn it off, but I think it's an interesting. I mean, it's great to see that they are offering a setting now, but it may be something that we need to consider that if you are using it, it may get to the point at some point down the track where they may decide to remove it more completely.
Yeah. I think one of the better ideas I actually saw on that list of feedback was whitelisting of JavaScripts, so that rather than things just being completely allowed or not allowed, an institution could say, "Oh yeah, we're happy to have scripts from Twitter and YouTube running, and we're happy to have our own institution scripts running," and that kind of level of control would be, I think, a lot more appropriate than just on or off, because on or off's a very hard way of managing things, I think, with this particular subject anyway.
Awesome, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions, thoughts, ideas, feedback?
Probably a good idea to switch it off generally and switch it on as people need it for individual courses, because it can be a bit of damage.
I'll be interested to see if they do it as a per course option or whether it's all or nothing. I got the impression reading it originally that it was going to be you can either do it account wide or you can't do it account wide. I don't know if they're going to go down to the sub account level. So that's something interesting. I can take that back and see if I can chat through the Slack channel I've got with the other coaches and see if anyone knows anything more on that one and bring that back to the group.
Yeah. One of the, I mean, on the only post, the post I put through was actually look at maybe applying it to the role level so that a teacher or a builder or the administrator would have the rights to post something that had script. But if you were a student, it would just automatically strip out anything, obviously. And so it was a bit easier to handle because you could then apply that to sub accounts and, different faculties or, that sort of thing as well if you wanted to. So it seemed to me like having a role-based would be a bit easier than just having it to the whole institution. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for that. It's certainly one that I know I'll be having a look at in a little more detail. I'm curious to see what they come out with in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll have a little more detail about exactly what they're planning to do with it. But I know certainly when I floated it with our users here, they went, "Wait, what? You're going to stop us from doing that?" Because it's been a nice little workaround, but I've almost wondered whether we need a proper LTI tool just to handle doing this safely and securely outside of injecting JavaScript into the Canvas interface. Because at least with an LTI tool, it's self-contained within the iframe, rather than actually then getting access to the Canvas environment variables and other data that may be there, which has always been my concern. Excellent.